All right, welcome into the Community News Comedy Calendar. This show where every week we're going to keep you guys up to date on what's happening in South Florida comedy. I am going to be your host, Sebastian Alvarez. I am a comedian down here in South Florida, as well as one of the managers over at the Miami Improv. Every week, guys, right here, I'm going to be hosting and giving you a little bit of a background on everything that's happening. If you're an open mic comic and you want to start hitting some mics and getting into the comedy scene, we'll help you out here. Or if you're just an audience member and you want to come and enjoy a show of laughs and fun on any day of the week, this is the spot to be every single Tuesday when this show goes live at noon. This week, though, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to give away some free tickets. We're going to talk about what's coming up. In terms of free tickets, though, if you do want to win free tickets, right now, I want you to go into the comments, and what you're going to do, it's going to be a very easy, very simple challenge. All you have to do is roast my co-host, Art Roach. This is my man right here. How you doing, Art?
I'm doing pretty well, Sebastian. I was feeling pretty good about this haircut today. I went to my barber, sat down. I said 2 words, simple Jack, and I think he did a pretty good job. So
Nice. I mean, I think he went the full way, but whatever, that's fine. But again, you can say whatever you want, however you'd like to roast Art. If you want 2 free tickets to the Miami Improv this weekend, put it into the comments on any of our platforms. Just say a little roast, the best roast wins. So going into last week, though, I want to just recap what we had going on in South Florida, some of the stuff that we talked about going into our show from last week. I had the Arlo Hotel in Wynwood. It was a fantastic show headlined by my boy Jay Moreno. It was a lot of fun, even though we had some complications with the weather and some of the storms happening all across South Florida last week. We were still able to put on a fantastic show, and it was a lot of fun. Also on Thursday, Art, you had another show too at the Wynwood Marketplace. How did that go?
that's right, Sebastian. We had Wynwood Marketplace on Thursday. We were also affected by the storms, but we were good to go. We had a show, about 50, maybe 60 people showed out. We had DJ Ivan blasting tunes all night before the show got started. The host of the show, Danny Pita, actually brought out a lot of energy, and my good friend Michael Soto ended the show for us. It was a good time. It was my first time there. I met a lot of new people. It was very exciting.
Got you. Fantastic. I love that. I love to hear that. One of the things I actually love doing out there in Wynwood, Art, I love getting some sushi. We just had sushi recently today. Where was it that we ordered sushi from? What was the name? I wanted to shout out the place. It was so good. We had it before we got on.
It was Hataki Yasha.
That's the name of the place?
Something like that, yeah.
That's what they said when you went to pick it up?
That's what I said on the Uber Eats, I think.
Okay, I think you were just listening to Megan Thee Stallion before you got in here. That's what it sounds like.
Could be. I get confused.
Yeah, Akashi, that's like...
Akashi, that's the place.
Yeah.
That's the place.
No,
Akashi.
I think I just made that up, but...
Well, it's something like that. Definitely something like that.
Heard that. Okay, cool. Sucks we can't shout that place out. It was so good. The sushi was so good.
Listen to the song. It's just like the song.
It's just like the song?
It's something like that.
Dude, that's the point. They're marketing with the song.
I'm assuming the song is theirs at this point. I'm going off that assumption.
Interesting. Yeah, we got to find out what this place is. It's not even Nobu or anything like that. Going into last weekend, though, the weekend shows that we had at the Improv this last weekend at Dania and Miami were freaking awesome, guys. It was so cool. Over in Dania, we had a really, really cool show. We had Ricky Cruz headlining the Dania Beach Improv this weekend. It was a lot of fun. A bunch of comics, local comics, were out there just going out and supporting him, performing on the shows as well. We had a lot of locals that were able to go up on that show. Really, really fun. A great time. And I think everybody who's in South Florida, who's in the comedy scene, will tell you that if you missed that show over there in Dania, you missed a good one. And the next time that Ricky Cruz headlines anywhere, whether it be here in Dania or elsewhere that you are accessible to it, 100% you want to get out there and watch a Ricky Cruz show, because he is, if not the funniest, one of the funniest comedians down here in South Florida, by far, an absolute OG legend of the game. And then in Miami this weekend, we had Michael Blaustein, who was, I mean, fantastic. Anything short of that, I think, would be an understatement in terms of his performance from this weekend. It was a great run of shows. He opened up every single show. He did 5 of them with like 30 to 40 minutes of straight crowd work that, as a person who works at the Improv, we watch every single show. Sometimes, you know, the comics, and no knock to any comic who does this, but they do a similar set every time. It's so cool watching somebody just be like, you know, on their feet, quick, just going in, doing straight crowd work and being committed to it for 30 to 40 minutes of the show. I think it was super cool. I had a great time this week in watching his shows. What about you, Art?
I'll tell you, I think the confidence he has in doing that crowd work, because he had all of his shows were sold out. So he had packed out crowd every show to get into it, knowing that you're going to commit to that much crowd work and still get through all your material. It was very impressive.
Yeah, and his opener actually was also really, really funny. Neil, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
His opener, I hadn't seen him before, Neil Ghost. Check him out on Instagram. I mean, this guy, he basically did an hour, I think, for some of the late shows. The guy was he was overflowing with material. I believe he'll be a headliner soon. I mean, if he's not going to, next year, if he's not opening for Blaustein, he's going to be doing headlining at the Improv. So
I believe it too. The man was super funny all weekend. He had a great team around him too. Michael had a bunch of guys that were filming and doing everything. Really, really awesome, dope team. Loved helping them out this weekend, and I can't wait for him to come back. If, like we said, if he ever does come back to the Miami Improv, because it's very possible next time he comes around, it's going to be at a bigger arena or a much bigger venue, because he's just pushing tickets at that level. I think he was here 6 months prior to like this show, and his tickets, he did really well, but he wasn't sold out every single show, where this time it was like before he got here this weekend, like we were telling you last week on the show, he was pretty much completely sold out already, to the point where they had to add a Sunday show. So I thought that was super cool, and I thought it was a lot of fun being able to watch one of the best up-and-coming comedians in the country kind of do his thing there in our club for a weekend. So that was really awesome. Really, really cool. Moving into this week, though, we got a really, really packed week of comedy, so I want to get through it as quickly as possible because it is jam-packed from Monday to Sunday. Starting off on Monday, though, it's your usual suspects that we got here on the Community News Comedy Calendar. We have on Monday, Thank You Miami, over by the Marlins Park, hosted by Daniela Delfino. Alex is the owner of that spot, and you absolutely want to get out there if you ever want some dope Miami vibes on a Monday. We also have 14 North up in Dania, that's connected to the Dania Beach Improv, hosted by Ellie Rodriguez, one of our good friends. Love Ellie. She's actually going to make another appearance on this comedy calendar list later on this week. And then lastly, on Monday, we got 7 C's that is going to be over off of Red Road and Coral Way. You can head out there at around 12:30 if you want a little late night, spot where you can go and have some cool intimate comedy, very club vibe over there at 7 C's. That's ran by our good friend Mike Daba.
If you're into cash only bars, that's the place for you.
That's right. Yes, there's also a cash only bar, so you can go and get and use all that extra cash that you haven't used throughout the week. I think they take pennies too. I believe Steph, the bartender, will love you if you give her exclusively pennies in a cup to pay for your Red Bull or water. Don't even get alcohol at that point. You know what I mean? You're already a jerk. But Tuesday, moving on to Tuesday, we got a really cool room that we both love doing all the time, whenever we can, that is. That is the Villian Theater out. It's in Little Haiti, correct? That's what it is. Little Haiti is the exact neighborhood that we got Villian Theater.
It's right by the Magic City Casino.
Got you. Yes. So right by Magic City Casino. If you look up Villian Theater, it should pop up right away. They're tagged right on the top of Google. And it does happen on Tuesdays. If you want to go watch the show, that's the time to show up. I believe the show starts at 10 o'clock, correct?
That's right.
It happens, and they have an improv show that is like, they do an improv troupe that they teach classes and they do a bunch of stuff there. If you're interested in any of that information, you can go to their website, villiantheater.com, and sign up for any of that stuff. But they do an improv show and then an open mic. The open mic, if you want to perform, the sign up happens at noon on Mondays. So if you ever want to do that, you got to kind of look ahead and get on there ahead of time. But other than that, you can go and enjoy the show that starts at 10 o'clock there at Villian. It's always a great time. It's always a packed lineup, and it's always a great host. So definitely head out there to Villian Theater. Link is going to be in the description of this video as well if you want to check out any of their info or any more stuff happening over there. Wednesday, though, is going to be awesome. I am going to be performing for the first time at Gramps in Wynwood. This is a really kind of iconic spot in Miami comedy. It's hosted, or not hosted, I'm sorry. It is ran and produced by my good friend, Sergio Mendez. He's a really, really funny comic, and he's curated a really great lineup that you really don't want to miss with Daniela Delfino, John Gregory, and Oriel Rodriguez. They're all going to be on that lineup. 3 other comics other than myself that are all fantastic. You don't want to miss them. Follow them. All their social medias are there on the screen if you want to follow them. Sergio is actually Magic City Pacino on Instagram if you want to follow him. But definitely Wednesday Gramps. It's every single month they do this show. So definitely check it out if you're not doing anything else on Wednesday. It's in the middle of Wynwood, one of the best shows in town. Moving on to Thursday, though, Art, we have a local show at the Miami Improv, correct?
That's correct.
What's happening on Thursday?
So the hitman of South Florida comedy, Hitman himself, he's running a show at the Miami Improv. He's bringing in a top headliner, Henry Welch. I haven't seen him yet, but I'm excited. I've heard a lot of good things. But on the lineup, you actually have Amber Joy Lane, who recently moved on to the next round of Florida's Funniest Comedian. You have Pookie F. Baby, who's I'll say a local legend down here in South Florida. I love every time I share the stage with him.
I've never seen him do bad.
That's right.
In
that's
any
right.
room. There could be 3 people in there and he's killing.
No, and he's actually, I was in one of his rooms recently, and it started off as 3 or 4 people in the room, and all of a sudden he started pulling people in just with other people hearing people laughing in the room. So it was really good. Exactly. It was amazing. So I'm looking forward to it. Hitman always brings out a good show, so I'm glad to see him running stuff at the Improv again. So it's a good time.
Absolutely. I love my boy Hitman too. Anytime that you see Hitman on the marquee at the Miami Improv, you definitely, or the Dania Improv, he produces shows out there too. You definitely want to hit up one of those shows and come out and enjoy yourself a little bit. Moving on to this weekend though, at the Miami Improv, Friday and Saturday, we are having an out-of-town headliner come in, Anthony Rodilla. He's a New York-based comic who's doing a national tour right now. So he's hitting up all the major cities, all the major clubs around the country. Someone you don't want to miss. He's kind of one of those guys that may not be in the clubs very much longer if he keeps going at the level that he's going to. But super funny guy, and definitely recommend coming out and watching his shows. He's got 1 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. But the other shows that we have going on this weekend at the Miami Improv, I am super happy to be able to shout them out because they are all local guys. And quite frankly, we got 3 local legends that are all putting on great shows this weekend at the Miami Improv. First off, on Saturday, we got at 3 p.m. my boy Louis Diaz. Oh, well, actually, I'm sorry, Friday, right? We have
start off Friday.
Yeah, we start off Friday because we have the late show on Friday. The 10:30 show, or the 10 p.m. show, sorry, is going to be El Caballo. I mean, if you haven't seen this guy on Instagram or on social media doing any of his reels or any of his skits, you guys got to check it out. Look up El Caballo on Instagram. He's a freaking hilarious comic, super Miami focused. If you look on the screen right now, you can see that the VIP is already sold out for this show on Saturday. So if you want to get tickets, definitely scoop them up as soon as possible because the general admission might sell out before the time comes. So
yeah. This show, I was going to say, Sebastian, this show is going to sell out by tomorrow, the next day. There's no way that we're going to make it to show date. And it's still going to be tickets available. People will be walking up to the door asking us if they can buy tickets. And guys, that's too late. Buy tickets now.
Yeah, I completely agree with you with that sentiment. Definitely get some tickets if you want to go see that El Caballo show because it is going to be a banger because the lineup itself is going to be awesome. The lineup has a bunch of legends on it too. We got Ellie Rodriguez, who, again, what we were mentioning before, she is our good friend from 14 North that runs that show out there every single week. She's, one of the funniest comedians down here in South Florida, period. But she's going to be hosting. We got Gene Harding, local legend, going up, and Cisco Duran, who is one of my favorite comics to watch, period. Anytime Cisco is on stage and I am within earshot, I am going inside and watching it, no matter what's going on, no matter anything. And this is going to be his first time performing at the Miami Improv in a good amount of time. He travels a lot. He's not in Miami often, but he is a Miami guy, so you definitely want to come out and watch that show if you get a chance. It is fantastic. It is worth every single penny for price of admission, guys. El Caballo, again, right there on the screen. Moving on to Saturday, though, we have an early show at 3 p.m. We got a little bit of a matinee going on at the Miami Improv this week, and I'm really happy to present this one. We got Louis Diaz performing. He's headlining, and it's going to be Louis Diaz's house party happening at the Miami Improv this weekend. Again, like I said, it's at 3 p.m. There's a picture of Louis right there. Fantastic picture taken and framed by my boy Dart Vision. You can always catch his stuff on Instagram, taking photos of all the comics down here in South Florida. But there's Louis right there. If you haven't seen him on social media either, he's another guy whose social media is an absolute gem. So definitely follow him at Louis Diaz on Instagram. Really, really funny guy, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that show and seeing kind of what he does. I think he's going to be bringing out some new material as well. So I'm always looking forward to seeing new stuff from Louis. But yeah, definitely come out on Saturday if you can get tickets. Get tickets 3 p.m. Miami Improv. Lastly, this weekend, the last show of the weekend is going to be Have Nots on Sunday at the Miami Improv. But I wanted to quickly shout out the Have Nots team and Dom specifically and everybody who's really ever done Have Nots, because we are now, if you put that back up on screen really quickly, we have Have Nots at the Tempe Improv in Arizona. What a freaking shout out, man. it's so dope to say that we now have nots happening in other states and other parts of the country. It's the first of many. I think we're gonna see have nots in a lot of different spots. And I mean, from everything that I've heard from Dom and what he's trying to do with these shows, he wants to take that Miami comedy and Miami guys, and he wants to take them out there to Tempe, to all these other places to show the country just how awesome Miami comedy is. And I think not only is that just such an amazing effort to try and undertake, and such a big effort to try and undertake, but I think it's also something that's super cool. And I give Dom all the credit in the world for trying to put this on and making this happen. He's been talking about this for a little bit, and it's right here. It's happening.
I'll take my hat off to Dom. He really is a trailblazer. I mean, he's been doing it here down in South Florida forever. And now to be getting out there, I mean, this weekend actually, all three of these guys, they're guys that I look up to. They're guys that are really doing it big, each in their own way, but doing really, really amazing work here in South Florida comedy. So I'm happy to see it. So Sunday, Miami Improv, 8 p.m. Come out to the Have Nots Comedy Live. It's going to be awesome. I don't have the lineup yet, but I know it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's always a good lineup when it comes to Have Nots. And again, man, huge shout out for getting that show out there in Tempe. The first of many. And I just think that it is so cool that we got guys producing shows out here that are reaching so far. It's really a testament to just how big the Miami comedy scene is going to be in a couple years. Because if this is what we're doing right now, once it starts really hitting a fever pitch, I think it's going to be fantastic. And you guys can stay locked in right here on the Miami comedy calendar, baby. Any time you guys need to know what's going on, what's happening, what's going to be happening in South Florida, you know where to come. Every Tuesday right here on the community news page at 12 p.m. We're going to be posting it up. From myself, Sebastian Alvarez, and my co-host Art Roach, we want to say thank you for tuning in again and tuning in every week here on the community news comedy calendar. Stay laughing until next week, guys.